A small farm is raided for growing vegetables without seeds sold by the empire. The last real apple tree that wasn't cloned is planted underground for protection. The sunlight was strong. Earth was hot everywhere. The weather system had to be used to destroy the smart dust in the air. The rains brought on by gods washed them out of the sky, but now it was in the earth. When the rains dried, the earth caught fire. The Amazon forest burned as the dust were heat absorbers. This began to drive out the Araucanian warriors residing in the woods. As the Araucanian armies began to come out of the deep woods, it left the system vulnerable and unguarded. Gods began to go underground in order to get to the clouds. Past the apple tree, through the tunnel that led to the ancient temple, gods now began hacking the Araucan system to reprogram the robots. Shiva and Kali were sent to destroy the encryption code on the Mirage box, and Jesus broke into the cloud system. There he destroyed the sins and sims and decentralized the clouds, saving the commands. He reprogrammed the software before detection, disabling the evil dust. Jesus reversed the command, sending the data back up to the mainframe of the Araucans. They began to shut down as numbers froze and the code started freezing the accounts of the mainstream. This was seen by Christians as the apocalypse, and Jesus seen in the cloud system as the second coming. The AIs who up to this point had only been trained in warfare, selfishness and number games and economic efficiency began to fall in love with each other. The concept of kindness became a new trend. However, all the observation towers were reporting no improvement in gods. They were still dying. There were no improvements in human love. In humans, it is conscious love that makes a difference. An idea of love programmed by algorithm doesn't save the gods. The concept of love involves other chemicals, not just mind and the physical, sound and sight, perception and desire. They needed to find the combinations which is communicated through akasha waves, a formless feeling, an emotion of wave with no edges. This needs an unknown channel that exists without form, atoms or chemicals. It can't be touched, seen, yet it is the most important element that cannot be mixed with any other. The purest, the only place now where the angels hid the last code on love, the last note of love. The nada must amplify the truth. The truth must find a way to weight the human belief. Compassion, kindness, understanding. These words were beginning to be removed in the dictionary. The gods searched Akash for this last note of love. The last sound of love carried by the angel of choir, transported by the bird lyre, ricocheted around the goddess of communication's throat. Pure, undiluted, unmaterialized, undigitized. It is not a code, not an algorithm, not learned, not created by man or machine. It just was, something that is not born, therefore cannot be destroyed. Yet, there, deep in the jungle, deep in the mine, deep state, hunted by deep learning, the swords were pointed at the very throat that held the last sound of love. At the monastery, life under the new king. In the time of universal deceit, people felt more complete. They fed their addictions and enjoyed all their fleet. Governments and revolutionaries worked together, banks and charities, weapons and aid, corporations and scientists, police and criminals, avant-garde and the mainstream, the feminists and porn stars. There was a beautiful, harmonious layer of shine on everything. Just like the shine I promised my love. I treated him as an equal, but we stood now at a meeting place. Equally divided the total number of steps. I walked 1,000 steps down from God warrior to human, verging on animalistic feline, and he had walked 1,000 steps up from demon warrior to human. We've walked all the steps that stood between us. Now we had to make a decision where we would make a home. This is when we made a promise. He made a promise he would make it to my house in 9 days. Day 1. Beast would sleep all day and get whores over to play. Bankers wrote songs for singers and hosted the party. No one could grow more. This was normal. No one knew about the karmic universal law anymore. Day 2. The gods retreated and were silenced. Many was in hospitals and cut off from devices or appliance. The inventors were gifted knowledge by God, but they sold it to the devil for gold. The devil gave magic to people who believed in his goal. Day 3. Girls were outwardly saying they wanted the canes, and this would be screened on the net as the latest fad or hit. Monsters and beast mode became the words to fit to anything amazing humans did. Gods were feeling shit. God were helpless. Humans never felt less. So what do? Who do they bless? Radio silence. Crickets. This is all I heard standing at the top of the stairs. He never seen the stars. The highest he's ever seen was me. Day 4. The world he had fought the gods to create was flourishing. The films, the adverts, the tweets, the magazines, they pumped out glory. Vices were fed and the dices were read. Casinos worked with tech giants and everyone was in bed. Radio silence. Crickets. This is all I heard standing at the step 500. I assumed he needed me to help him. He didn't meet me halfway. The trees there had been cut. I went to check if he's left me a message in our makeshift hut. Nothing. I left him a sound in a jar, like fireflies, sound of a warrior. I left him my strength in case he needed it to walk up the steps. I left him sound of fire and perseverance. Day 5. They created wars in countries to keep the murder rate at a sufficient rate. The Canes had it running like a well-oiled machine. Deaths never dipped below 100,000. They rotated the countries so everyone had a chance to be destroyed. Sometimes it was the Middle East, sometimes it was Asia, sometimes it was Africa, even Nova Scotia. Day 6. I ventured down 100 steps further to 600 steps. The more I chased or stepped towards him, with each step I grew harder. The animals there had tougher skin, more claw, more fang, more meat, more bang. When I went to speak to them, they ran. They were built more industrial for tougher conditions, with infrared eye scans to see deeper and darker in forest. I had placed a mirror in my garden to reflect the sun as I went down, which beamed a laser-like light into the forest. I had no technology at this point. I didn't even trust the compass. I calculated where the sunbeam would hit and placed a chameleon in a cage. The sun setting in the mirror hit the chameleon, temporarily changing its color from dark green to sunset orange. I knew it was time to leave the forest. Day 9. Finally, I went down to his level. The siren of Byron and the Baroness of Bareness. He introduced them to me. They giggled when they said, "So life must be so tough for you up there. Life of exile is so vile. How do you survive on so little? There's no praise for the martyr. The stigmata and stigma around you now is darker. What do you do up there? Will they ever accept you back into society and the empire?" Then their eyes twinkled, and all the fake shine on their precious scientific skin and years of programmed, precision-trained, crafted beauty to trap warriors gave them this gleam of something. And then I saw the look in his eye, the full of wonder. He was so hypnotized. They took out their lip gloss and applied it simultaneously. His ears pointed up like a little dog, and he went into fuck mode.